This is the real reason why we came on here.
That's right. That's right.
You two can go to bed now. We're going to talk a little.
Are we still doing NFL free agency? We said.
So now we get to the fun part of the show. These guys only give me 18 seconds a week or every other week to kind of give the wrestling report. So I kind of go through that.
18-second wrestling report.
Yeah, 18-second wrestling report. Yeah, but it's not every day I get to do this, or every episode. So I'm going to kind of take my liberties with it. No, I just really want to kind of get your take on what are you guys watching right now? What intrigues you? What's not? We're into WrestleMania season coming up. What's again, grab your attention between WWE and AEW, and just kind of give your thoughts on that right now.
Well, I think I can speak for both of us here that we're WWE guys first and foremost, and that comes with being a WWE fan. So we're angry all the time, but Ryan doesn't really get into, not to talk for you, Ryan, but I know Ryan doesn't really like to check in on AEW. I pay closer attention to it than Ryan does. I think it's okay. I don't love it, but I don't think it's terrible. But we're WWE guys first and foremost, 100%.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've checked it out only because I've always liked Jericho. I watched a little bit of New Japan, so Kenny Omega always intrigues me. I think there's they're like that. They're an expansion team to me. They're still working the kinks out, but I think sooner or later they're going to start adding more guys that kind of fall off that WWE ladder that maybe are not used there, and I think that's when they're really going to get the kind of picking up paces. I think they're going to move to Mondays at some point. And I really think they're going to go head-to-head against Raw. But I still think they need to acquire some of that unused talent as well as build their own guys up as well. So until that point, it's night and day for me. It's still WWE. As much as Raw may not be as good as we would like, SmackDown's a good show. NXT's a great show. I love NXT. I love watching NXT. So I think they're still clear, that far ahead of AEW. So with that focus on WWE, what is really like kind of jumping out at you right now? Are you excited for WrestleMania? Is there a certain feud or a certain aspect that you're really looking at? And are there any other matches or things that you can predict that you think might happen between now and WrestleMania?
I actually want to make a quick point about AEW. Sure. As you were going on and speaking is, I think their top end talent and what makes them different from WWE is like phenomenal. It's like, it's more edgy. It's kind of more of an old school wrestling style feel. The thing that's driving me crazy that they're doing is like, here come the old boys club again. Like here's Sting. Like I love Sting. Sting's the man. I love Sting, but it's like, here's Sting getting TV time taken away from the other guys. Here's the Big Show. It's like, Jericho can still do it. He's still kind of in his old man prime, but like I hate how they're starting to bring in that like veteran, like here's Christian. It's like, I think this business needs to find a way to move on to the next generation so badly. Like it's just the nostalgia is too much now. It's done. Like they need to find a way to just keep focusing on what makes them different than WWE and not bring in guys who have been let go or wanted to leave WWE. That's my opinion on AEW.
Nostalgia sells, right? When WWE does their Legends Night once every 6 months because they need a ratings boost, they're bringing back WWE Legend, Savio Vega, WWE Legend, IRS. I use the word legend. They use it a little bit more loosely than I would, but
Carlito.
Right. Oh, geez.
Yeah. And like, I love nostalgia, but I feel like even if you just take a punch in the gut for however long it takes, you need to find a way to forget about some of these dudes. Like it's over. Like it's gone. It's almost 25 years old now when these guys were in their prime. Like it's time to really focus on what's next for wrestling. Because right now I feel like it's still a successful business, but it's just been like stuck for a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, you're right. And I think the reason why they do that is because they don't have that guy or guys, I think, to really focus on. They got to bring these guys back to get the ratings up. Like there's that Cena might be the last real big huge name. You know, obviously he's crossed over now, but like you got to tune in every week because you want to see what he's doing. They don't have that. To me, personally, they don't have that. They're in that gray period of almost like a rebuilding team. You know what I mean? So
I gotta say though, Frank, like Ryan and I, we can't get enough of heel Roman.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Heel Roman is excellent.
Overdue. That was overdue.
Like he's excellent. He's must-see TV. He's right where he needs to be. The addition of Heyman and how Heyman, I love how Heyman adapts to him in that like he's not his mouthpiece.
Agree. Yes.
Yeah. He doesn't do the Lesnar thing where he got Barack like every single time he's on TV. He just stands there quietly, like the little henchman while the mob boss talks.
He's almost like the figurehead. Like he's just. You bring up a great point because technically Roman doesn't even need him. The fact that Heyman's there, it brings it to that next level.
Yes.
And I think that's you hit the nail on the head there. So yeah, it's overdue, and I don't see anybody knocking him off for a long time. No. I don't think Edge knocks him off.
No.
Unless they add Daniel Bryan as a triple threat, which I think will kind of water down that match. I think that's kind of where they're heading because I don't think Bryan has an out after this. If whatever happens at Fastlane, I don't see there's nobody else kind of Daniel Bryan would then go to the next. How are you going to do a feud in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So I think it might be a triple threat, and Edge. I love Edge. Like again, there's that whole nostalgia thing. You know, Toronto guy, all that. But the only way Roman's losing that belt is if someone's pinning somebody else. Because I don't see Edge knocking off Roman. It just doesn't make sense. Roman's the guy to put people out to pasture. The Undertaker, Brock, Edge is next. You know what I mean? Like, what makes Edge any different to knock Roman off the throne, right?
100%.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I still love Edge. Like, Edge is good nostalgia for me because he can still work. And it seemed like him coming back was impossible. And it's not like, it's just that like older tier of like Goldbergs and stuff I get tired of. But I'm happy to see that Edge is back and he can actually work. And I know they're going to have a great match. But yeah, that makes no sense for Edge to go over at all. No way.
I like putting Edge with him at Mania because to me it's like a fresh matchup and it's interesting. And like Edge is a guy that I can get excited for. There's two guys currently in WWE, and one of them I don't even know if he's still in WWE, that interest me as an opponent for Roman. The first one, and I wanted to get your take on this guy, Frank, Drew. I think they've done a great job building up Drew. I think the two of them standing side by side one another, it looks like a big deal. And I thought their match at Survivor Series was excellent. Like I'm a Drew, like when they first put the title on Drew, I was kind of like, I don't really know. And just watching him in the last year, he's made a fan out of me 100%. And the other guy's Lesnar. Because now, I know they've done Roman and Lesnar a couple times, but I think now that you've got Heyman switching over to the other side, it makes it interesting.
To me, that is a WrestleMania match. Yes. I was waiting for that to happen where Heyman had to choose one or the other. It could have been a way of maybe turning Brock as an attraction, but as a fan favorite attraction, because you always, I found, with wrestling is you always get more ratings with the guy chasing the belt versus putting the belt on, on the face and having a heel chase. Well, who wants to see that? Because technically you never beat him. So what is that? You always want that chase, that kind of that movie script mentality to it, right? So that would have been great. You're absolutely right. With Drew McIntyre, I always thought he was better as a heel. The monster aspect of him, like he's that guy's a beast. And get rid of the sword. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
so
necessary.
Vince, though. That's so
Vince.
So,
like what they've done now with Bobby Lashley, thumbs up, because that guy is what you call an absolute. He's built like a brick shithouse. Okay, that guy there is what you call a top-notch A1. Like, and that's a guy who now putting him with MVP, smart move. You got your mouthpiece. It's almost like a. It's the reverse of Heyman and Brock. You have that on Raw now with MVP and Bobby, and he hasn't lost a match since maybe last year. You know what I mean? So I like where they're going with that, and I think now they're trying to establish some new pieces. The thing with Cesaro as well, I would have been interested to see him against Roman only because it's different. You know what I mean? It's different.
I don't know that they've done. They just haven't done a good enough job of making Cesaro feel important to me, and that's why I'm happy they didn't go in that direction. As far as the sword goes, like you all know that in the back that was, give him a sword.
This good shit.
That's good. We're gonna give him a big sword. It's gonna be.
I got one in my
shit.
office.
Yeah, like you know exactly whose idea that was.
Oh man,
100%. Yeah, can I say something that I wanted to bring up about? Please. I'm really disappointed in last night on Raw, a match at WrestleMania. I heard for a couple weeks I was reading, because I'm a huge dirt sheet guy. I got the Meltzer subscription. I follow all the blogs.
Oh, wow.
I read everything. And it was rumored for a while that AJ Styles was pushing for a match with Triple H. And I was really excited about that because like AJ had the show stealer last year against Taker in the Boneyard. And I was just really like, and then last year he comes out with Omos. Last night he comes out with Omos and he's challenging the New Day for the tag belts.
Correct. It is now official. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just like, really? Like, this is one of the best guys on your roster, and you're putting him on your biggest show of the year, a 2-night show, and you're putting him in a throwaway match, tag teaming with a guy who, sure, is an absolute giant, but I don't think he can work worth a lick. And you're putting him in there challenging for the Raw tag belts. I was really disappointed to see that last night.
His interview or his his promo, the one thing he shouldn't have said, he essentially buried himself. He says, I've been an Intercontinental Champion, I've been a US Champion, I've been the World Champion, then he says, my I can't remember the term he used, but my bucket list is getting small. I'm kind of bored. So like that just goes to show you they got nothing for you, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just kind of threw everybody under the bus. So it's
I think they've made him look like a bit of a goof, like over the past couple months. Like he's just kind of a babbling idiot on television.
Yeah. I'm sorry, he's not a good heel. For me, he's
terrible.
Like, he's not that character. When he was in Bullet Club, he was surrounded by the guys. I get it, but he can work. He's not working. He's not. Dude, AJ,
he needs to cut that hair too. Like when he first showed up in the WWE, he had a great this is so stupid.
He looks like a soccer mom.
He got a great salad, it was cool. Like he looks sick.
But the look, it's funny sitting here. Yeah, it's funny sitting here talking about guys' haircuts, but like the look is so important.
It's true, and I don't know about you guys. The phenomenal forearm doesn't do it for me. It's Styles Clash or nothing.
Yeah,
I'll take the submission too, but that forearm does nothing for me. Does nothing.
Well, and I mean, this is a much bigger discussion for another day because like we don't have hours and hours. But like, you look at a guy like AJ, and he's actually someone who's come in and is a smaller guy and has had some success in main event at WrestleManias. But it's like, I look at what this WrestleMania card should be based on the talent they currently have under contract, and there's a bunch of guys not on it that should be on there. First and foremost, Finn Balor,
100%.
But they had to send him back down to NXT because they don't know what to do with him on the main roster. You have one of the best guys, top 5 guy in the world right now in NXT, and Adam Cole. Can't sign him, can't bring him up. Yeah, can't bring him up. Yeah, dude, he's one of the he's awesome. He's a top 5 guy in the world.
Yep.
And he's a guy who, when his contract expires, wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in AEW because Britt Baker, his girlfriend's there, and he'll actually get a shot at the world title there, and he won't get called up to the main roster and be on 205 Live after a month and a half.
I'm telling you right now, that match between him and Kyle O'Reilly, I'm sure they're going to set that up for TakeOver, will be the match of the year. I will go out on a limb. They won't even want to watch. They better put Balor and what's his face there, Karrion Kross on another night, because that match will steal the show. And I can't wait for that.
Right, tell them your take on Triple H and Karrion Kross.
Oh, I think you brought up about NXT is like a great show, and I agree. And I think one of the best parts about NXT is what you just said. It's like, you're going to tune in, you're going to see that match be a match of the year candidate. It's almost a guarantee.
Yeah.
And I think Triple H has done such a good job. Like, you look at a guy like Karrion Kross, and it's like, to me, when I look at him, he's a big dude, but he kind of looks like a bum to me. Like, he kind of just looks like another wrestler. And I think the way that he's made him come off, especially with his girlfriend too, is a part of that whole shtick too. She's phenomenal as well.
Yep.
But I just think the way Triple H is like, he's made him like feel like a big deal. And I just think he's a largely average guy. So I think Triple H is so good at taking a guy in that brand and turning him into something special. And it's like, you don't want to see him move up because you know that specialness is going to be gone. That's basically been the story of every NXT talent that's left that roster. It's just Triple H has that magic dust that makes people look so good.
And I'm actually surprised they're doing a decent job with Damian Priest right now. Like, he's actually, that last match, he should be squashing guys. He's not a guy that, like, he is a guy that maybe didn't do as good as NXT, but now he's actually looking like a decent performer on Raw. So I hope they don't kill him the same way we're doing with Keith Lee. Like, that's an epic failure. Like, send him back. Send him back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, what's Kevin Owens doing right now? Like,
he's hosting the Kevin Owens show.
Hosting the Kevin Owens show between Alexa Bliss and something. Like, what is he doing? Like,
I got a feeling it's him and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. I think that's where they're headed with that one.
That'll be a good match. I just want to ask. I know we're really going at it here with here with the wrestling talk. Where are you at with this whole Fiend and Randy Orton thing? Like,
it's coming to WrestleMania, obviously. We know that.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a cinematic match because I don't think they can put together just a regular match at WrestleMania. I think he's coming back with a different look, to be honest with you. Again, I think it's just another way to reinvent him because once he lost to Goldberg, I think that lost the whole appeal.
Oh,
I don't know who made that decision, but they killed that whole momentum. He couldn't do any right after that.
Frank, you want to know how to really trigger Ryan?
Say Goldberg.
Say the two words, Bill Goldberg.
Yeah. Stop.
I'm not going there. I won't.
Yeah.
We'll just call him. We'll call him just BG or something. I don't know.
But
Can I say? I don't even watch wrestling, and I saw that Bill Goldberg Fiend thing, and I was like, I don't even watch, and that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
It made sense because some Saudi prince spent a lot of money on that match. That's why it made sense.
Yeah.
But I think he's coming back as a different look. I think it's going to be a cinematic piece, but I also think after that, where do you go with it? Do you start adding maybe pieces to his family or his new kind of like collection there with Alexa Bliss? They reinvented Alexa Bliss. They did a great job with her.
He's another guy. You know what? Earlier I said the two most interesting opponents for Roman were Drew and Brock. I think if you bring him back and you book him correctly, he's a guy that you could pair with Roman and it could be interesting.
100%.
What about Rollins too on that show? Like, he's kind of, what's he doing? Like,
he's toiling away.
They're kind of twisting the same thing he's done before and embracing a vision and all of that.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's too saturated. You know what I mean? If they're calling NXT the same brand or just another brand, I wouldn't mind start seeing some guys moving over as well. If they're not saying they're being called up to the main roster anymore, because those guys have said they want to stay there, I wouldn't mind seeing some. If they're going to do a draft, do it across all three shows. Maybe bring some guys that are kind of mid-level card that can get, because NXT for me is the wrestling show. There's no storylines there. It's just pure wrestling. Let's get at it. They have a lot of shows within 2 hours. I'd love to see guys go back there. Like Andrade, they've screwed up. So hey, see you later. But there's a guy I wouldn't mind seeing going back. I'm a huge Bobby Roode guy. Guy. That's a guy that needs to go back. Become a heel because he can be the world champ there like he was before. They're just saturated. You know what I mean? Like that's your wrestling show. Send those guys there. That's the way I feel on that. So
it would be a fresh coat of paint for Rollins to let him go. And like also, it's WWE. There's no rules. They tell you there's rules, but there's no rules. Like why can't Rollins go there for a couple months and challenge Balor for the title?
Wouldn't you? Who would want to see Cole and Rollins go at it?
Exactly. And
you
then,
know what I mean? Like
when he loses, just disappear for a month and show up on Raw. No, literally,
exactly.
no one who watches and understands WWE is going to sit there and go, "Hey, there hasn't been a draft. Why are you?" No one's going to think that.
All right. So here's how I want to kind of end it off. I always like doing hypothetical. Coach Frank here, right? You have the whole roster to yourself. All right. I'm a big faction guy. Four Horsemen, NWO. Okay. Who is in your ideal faction? You have who's your ideal Four Horsemen of today in WWE? If you had to recreate it, who are your guys? I'll let you mull it over and think about it.
Do you want a minute to think about that, right?
Yeah, I don't. Man, it's tough.
So I'm not gonna go. I'm a huge NWO guy. Huge. So if I was gonna make it, it would be sort of in that same style. Although Ryan and I loved us some Evolution growing up too. Mm-hmm. But so if I was going to do one, it would be in that sort of style. It would have to be a heel-esque faction, obviously with I wouldn't want to put like Roman seems to be the obvious choice, but I like him off on his own, doing his own thing. So it would definitely be like Adam Cole. Basically take the Undisputed Era. a variation of the Undisputed. Maybe ditch Roderick. And throw somebody else in there. Who would be a good fourth guy to put in?
I think a guy that is kind of doing nothing right now, who I think could do MVP's role but better, is Samoa Joe. Like I think Samoa Joe could be a legit mouthpiece for a guy in wrestling. If he's not ready to come back and wrestle, and if he's done, I actually think he could step into MVP's role and do better. Like, I think he could be a legit mouthpiece.
Oh, yeah. There's a guy, too. I don't know. Like, I don't really know what his deal is. Like, there's a guy right there that, like, if he's not announcing, you could take him off the table. And if you want him on Raw, you put him in the title picture immediately. And then, like, with Roman doing the whole sort of Samoan mob boss thing, Joe's a natural adversary. And Joe's history with Heyman. For sure.
Interesting. Well, I heard he's coming back. They're just waiting for which would be great because the guy is what he is. But for me, I have Randy Orton has to be in there for me. I think he's shown that he can live in factions and by himself. So for me, you need that headliner, that guy. So he's there for me. As mentioned, Bobby Roode is there for me. I loved him in when he was as part of Fortune and TNA. Again, he can stand on his own. He can lead it, but you need a guy who can go mid-card, tag team, heavyweight. So Bobby Roode is in there for me. Adam Cole, 100%. He's the guy there. And I'll throw a little different one at you, even though I think they're not using them properly, but I think could be a perfect fit in there would be. I like Sami Zayn. I think that guy is a perfect complement to any type of faction, but I love him being a heel. I think there's something about him that there's an entertainment element to him, but he can go and he can go with the best of them. And he's got a personality. All four guys in there can have a personality that can fight, that can wrestle, and they can take a broomstick and turn it into a 5-star match. So that's kind of my. My four that I'd like to see together. So
I love that you just referenced Fortune and TNA. What a reference.
Listen, these guys, Joe and Rob will tell you, I have this weird thing about wrestling facts and randomness. I've actually challenged people on this show to my wrestling accoutrement, as you can call it. They try to stump me, so it's pretty tough. So if you ever guys want to come back and do that, it's an open invitation.
I think we definitely need to organize like an hour on wrestling. I know both of us would be down to do that.
You guys should start your own show, not another wrestling podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Joe, how are your fingers from Googling all these guys that they're talking about?
You noticed I was, right?
Yeah, you did a lot of typing.
I did not recognize. There was a couple, like Randy Orton I recognize. Goldberg, obviously, but most of them I'm just Googling as I'm going along and trying to find out who all these dudes are.
I got one more name for these guys. It might be the most misused talent that they have, and it's going to kick them in the ass when he leaves, is Aleister Black. I think that guy, they had dropped the ball so bad with that guy. They had a great gimmick
that's another
going.
instance that,
you know,
that's another instance of what Ryan was saying, where like he's in NXT, they give him the great look, they give him the great entrance, they build him up, and he goes up there and I don't know, don't have anything for you right now, pal. It's like it's just it's.
Oh, by the way, we fired your wife, but that's okay.
Yeah, like it's brutal. Like it's absolutely brutal. So I don't. That's a huge problem. Like I said, you could do a freaking 9-hour podcast talking about that problem.
Oh, or we could spend an hour talking about how bad Apollo Cruz's new accent is, but that's maybe for another time.
Yeah.
The guy went Black Panther out of nowhere. I felt like doing this as soon as you started talking. It's like, oh man.
Hey, who was the guy at the Royal Rumble with the barrel? Like he was like the new school hacksaw Jim Duggan that he just yelled out, and the short little chubby
Otis?
dude. Oh
Otis.
My God. Superstar.
Yeah.
Superstar.
Yeah, well,
I loved him.
I don't know what they were doing there, but
I got one wrestling question. I don't know if it's a wrestling question, but have you guys been watching Young Rock, the TV show?
No, I haven't.
I haven't, but I know all
it's
about
okay.
it.
It's okay.
It's okay. I didn't like the Andre the Giant casting. That was a lot, eh?
Or the white guy playing the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, that. Okay.
I think it's a little tough for wrestling fans to like watch that and be like, nice. There's the Iron Sheik.
There's a few of them. There's a few guys on there. But I'll give the WWE credit, the WWE Network, all the behind the scenes and the documentary stuff. I think it's great. That's the only thing I actually really like. I'm debating just ordering the channel because of that stuff.
Oh man, they are
amazing with that stuff.
Yeah, they're super frustrating in a lot of aspects, but their like original documentary content is like elite. It's like HBO level elite.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Incredible. Yeah.
That Yokozuna document. Oh man, that was awesome. Great episode.
Yeah,
wait till the Lex Luger one comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Lex Luger.
Yeah.
The total package.
The narcissist. Who would your favorite wrestlers be if your two favorite wrestlers, like both your guys' favorite wrestlers
all time?
Oh
yeah, let's.
Oh, I will. Ironically, it's the perfect day for you to ask that question because today is 316 day, and the greatest, my favorite of all time. Like, I would have to say my favorite wrestler of all time from like enjoying watching is probably Steve Austin, but my number one, like just the guy who I have the utmost respect for is The Undertaker.
Yeah. I mean, I love Austin, but I grew up, I think all my wrestling viewing was Triple H. Like Triple H was the guy when I was watching wrestling.
Wow.
Like I have a lot of respect for Triple H and also The Undertaker too. Those are my two guys. Rob? I love Austin. I love Rock. I love Michaels. I love Bret Hart. I love Edge, but it's just like, if I always remember just watching Triple H.
Wow. Yeah, he was in the main event all the time.
Yeah,
all right.
Correct.
Rob,
I hated him.
I'm curious.
Oh, me? Like, listen, Canadian, I have to say Bret Hart, but The Undertaker, it's not even close. I stopped watching when he kind of faded away. He was my favorite by far.
Joe?
I'd have to go with The Rock. I love The Rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
during that era, that was like must-see TV.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Dwayne.
Am I the oldest guy here? There's only one answer. It's a Macho Man.
You're showing your age, yeah.
I believe me and Joe used to compete in buried alive matches in grade 6 in the sandpit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I used to take actual cookie sheets and slam them over his head.
And I never put the hands up.
He never put the hands up. Never put the hands up. Yeah,
I took it every time.
Ryan has sort of CTE issue from when he was 8 or 9 years old, and I would go up to the kitchen and grab a cookie sheet and go down and just whop in the head.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
How many times would you go up to a kid at recess and just stone cold stun them?
Oh yeah.
When I was in university, I was going out to the bar and doing that.
I was the guy getting caught for sharpshooters in the on the playing field. So that wasn't good.
That was fun too.
Yeah.
You slap a 54 on a guy.
So funny.
Oh man, guys, this has been fantastic. I can't. This went a lot. I apologize. I didn't mean to go that long, but when you start talking this stuff, it's like it's hard. It's hard to kind of cut it off. But this has been fantastic.
It was a blast.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I finally came across 2 Leaf fans that actually know what they're talking about. I'm
There's not many of us.
Yeah,
thanks,
right?
Rob.
Thanks, man.
No,
yeah.
tremendous.
Honestly,
tremendous stuff.
thanks for having us.